What happens when a U.S. Army intelligence analyst, a world champion boxer, and a tech founder all walk into the same story? You get Masako Mai, a force of nature who's turned her life into a mission of service, resilience, and justice. In today's episode, Masako opens up about her path from childhood trauma to international impact. We'll talk about why she joined the military after her father's death was ignored by the system, how she won a boxing championship for her inner child, and how she's using technology to lift up single-parent families across the country. She's bold, brilliant, and refreshingly real. This is one of the most layered conversations we've ever had. Let's jump in.
Hello, Masako. How are you today?
I'm outstanding, Andy. How are you?
I'm doing good. So good to talk to you again. I've been looking forward to this since our first initial conversation. You and I just hit it off really, really well. So we're going to get into all of your backstory and your fun, different avenues that you've traveled throughout your life. But just to get people kind of a taste test of what's to come here. So Masako, you have been a U.S. Army veteran, a world champion athlete, and a tech-powered founder. So that's quite the arc of different disparate items right there. So what thread ties all of those experiences together for you? How would you combine all those up?
Well, when I'm listening to you name those things, those titles, I think about, Andy, what makes me me and why I became all those things, or why I ventured into the avenue to be a part of those arenas. And when you asked me that question out loud, what comes to mind, what I felt through my body was, being a middle child of an Army veteran.
Okay.
That is what culminated within my spirit to cause me to be the type of leader that I am. Being the daughter of a veteran, my mom became a young widow. And so if you could imagine being raised in a household of a young widow, being born on your father's birthday.
Wow.
And so that carried a particular weight for my mother and I, because I'm sure, she connected with me in a way that reminded her very much of my father.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, we had a different relationship because from early on, instead of her telling me no, she told me, well, how are we going to do that?
Okay. Right.
So, that question sparked everything in me with regard to how are we going to do that? Oh, great question. I'm glad you asked. And so that earlier on in my life set me on the trajectory of always going after my dreams, always living in the space of what's next, because being that my father passed at such a young age, I always wanted to be that person where I'm going to do absolutely everything that comes to my heart and mind, because when I take that last breath, I want my life to have been intentional and to have served a purpose while I'm here. So that sums that up.
I love it. Well, I could not have asked for a better start to a conversation, Masako. You crushed it. We're off to a good start here. So super fun. So that kind of gets, again, a kind of an idea of some of the things that we're going to talk about. But so let's kind of back up a little bit and tell us a little bit about we found out about your mom and your dad passing. I'm so sorry to hear that. Just tell me a little bit more about your upbringing and maybe some early inspirations, because like you said, you've gone kind of quite the wide range of different things here. So give me some stories of growing up.
Oh, wow. So when we moved to Dallas, so I'm born in California, Southern California. And when we moved to Dallas, I did not understand why we were moving.
Okay.
When my dad died, he died in transport. He was going to see his parents. My dad had cancer.
Okay.
And I didn't understand. We never went back home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We never went back home. And so that led me, I always had this question, psychology tells us, it's changed now, but, when I think back of my early years, the psychology was everything that we need to know to be successful in life happens in our first 7 years of life.
Wow.
So I was shy of my seventh birthday by, I want to say maybe like 20 days, give
Really?
or take
Wow.
a day. And so that always, um, that labored within my spirit. What did I miss for those last 20 some odd days that my dad died?
Right.
Because,
Right.
what am I missing? Like, did I tell my dad that I loved him?
Wow.
And now that I'm older, I think back, of course you told your dad you loved
Yeah.
him. Every day before he'd go to work, I'd hug his neck, tell him I loved him. He is the one who picked me up from school. He
Mm-hmm.
took me to swim practice.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him grilling dinner on in the back,
Mm-hmm.
throughout the week. And
Right.
so those are foolish questions to think, did I ever
Yeah.
tell my dad I loved him? But those are real questions as a person, as a child
Mm-hmm.
growing up, you
Right.
know, the space that I move in and how I've helped people move through trauma. I
Mm.
always say, the first person I'm meeting is their first unhealed traumatic experience.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, have you done the work? And so that from an early stage, set me on a path to, I just want to be the best. I always want to be the greatest. However, when you are traumatized, I'm raised in a single parent household. My mom and dad had 6 kids, and I'm a middle child. And so, if you can imagine when you're left without a covering in a new land, the things that can show up. How do you
Mm.
maneuver those landmines? Because those are landmines when you're in a new land,
Sure.
traveling this road seemingly alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're stepping through some landmines. So you
Right.
learn early on how to be strong,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
how to become an adult, probably before time.
Right. Right.
And so that growing up was becoming an adult
Mm.
very. I almost feel like I didn't have a childhood, if I could be
Mm-hmm.
honest. I feel
Right.
like
Right.
I didn't have a childhood. So as I grew up and I moved out and I went to college and I began to travel the world, I was like, you know what? When people ask me now, well, where did you grow up? And I'm like, oh, I'm still growing up.
Not there yet, huh?
I'm still growing up because I feel like I had to be an adult at such an early
Yeah.
age,
Right.
as a middle child, helping, my mom. I mean, every parent does the best they can with what they have.
Mhm. Yep.
And she tried to give us everything that we wanted. However, one thing that's missing that parents may or may not realize, but I feel like oftentimes people don't when it comes to success and when we place monetary value on what success looks like.
Mhm.
And when you chase money and the things that you value, oftentimes what the child needs is the time with the parent,
Mhm.
not all
Mhm.
of the gifts and the
Right.
lavishness. It's the time. Time is equity.
Right. Have you ever heard this one before? Presence rather than presents with a T,
Right.
right?
Presence rather than presence. And so
Right.
I grew up earlier on with presents, not
Mm-hmm.
presents. And so, and
Mm-hmm.
still to this day, gifts are my love language because
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was shown to show me that I am loved. Gifts.
Right. 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 Yeah. Isn't it funny
Gifts.
how, yeah, isn't it funny how that just sticks with you? I was literally having this conversation with my younger son last night. Him and his girlfriend just had their 1 year anniversary, which, as a 16-year-old kid, that's kind of a big deal, right? They did the whole
Yeah.
thing and we had the conversation about, well, what do you think her love language is? And we, just back and forth. And I mean, we had that, I don't even know why, but for whatever reason, we had that conversation, my wife and I did when we were on a hike years ago. They were way too young to even have this conversation, but it stuck with them. And it helps to just guide the conversation and like, oh, well, that's why he or she, operates that way is because they're looking for words of affirmation or, quality time means more to them. Anyways, not to get too far off the track, but I think that idea is very, very, it's needed, right? In any type of relationship, whether that's romantic or just a working relationship is knowing how the other person ticks.
I absolutely agree with you, Andy. All the teams that I work with, we always do this like icebreakers when we have meetings. And one of the ones is, what is your love language? Because it's important for the teams that we work with for us to know what makes them feel loved. Because my love language isn't your love language. And it's funny, when we all did the love language test, I was unique all my own. Theirs matched up, but mine was totally opposite. Yeah. So yeah, it's important to know the love language of the people that you're in relationship with, because everybody feels different about what makes them feel loved.
Right, right. And then depending on the situation, I think there's even a version for work, right? Like love languages in a work setting, right? Because they wouldn't call it necessarily a love language, depending on the corporate setting and that kind of stuff. But it's it's still the same idea, right?
Yeah. How do you honor someone? How do you show someone that what they do is important to you? How do you show them that you appreciate them?
Exactly right. Exactly
Because
right.
everything is about relationships. All things in life is about relationships.
Yep, I completely agree. So many different avenues and phases of your life that I would love to just get your take on right here. Let's start with your service for the to the Army. I work with a lot of retired military folks, and just you can't find a more just down to earth, caring. They just give of their hearts and their lives, and I just have nothing but respect for all of our military personnel. So thank you for your service first off, and I would love to hear kind of how what brought you into the military, your time there, what you learned, I guess some lessons learned that you're still applying now.
Well, I've always had a servant leadership heart.
Right.
What I learned because I joined the military after I had traveled the world extensively, after I had been a world title holder, after I had gone to university. So I did the military after, a lot of things. And when you join such an organization, you have to have some pliability about yourself, because I'm very strong-minded and I do things the way I do them because I know they're right for me and my mission and my message.
Right.
And so when you decide to become a part of something that's much larger than yourself, you come in alignment with a set of beliefs,
Right.
right? And so you have to make that work for you, even if you don't agree with everything about it. And so what I learned is to give myself a lot of grace, because here I was entering into an organization very strong-minded, and a lot of people join in what I experienced. A lot of people join the military to create change for themselves, right? That was their way of getting something else out of life.
Okay. Right. Yep.
Where I feel like I had already done so many things. I'm on my fifth bucket list now. It's like I had already lived my life time and time and time and time again.
Right.
But when my dad died, it all goes back to dad. When my dad died of cancer from Agent Orange, his death certificate had natural causes on it. And I was like, you don't die of natural causes with the oxygen tank on.
Yeah. Right.
And, we did all of our due diligence to get that death certificate changed. But, there were unanswered calls, right? Nobody would listen. Nobody would pick up the torch and say, yes, I'll run this with you. I can help you get this changed.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you know what? Well, I have to join the military myself. You got to become one of them. Find out, how they think, how they move. I always say I'm the great research scientist, because, I'll do what I need to do in order to research for the bigger picture.
Right. Right.
And so it was tough, though. It was tough being a part of an organization. Like early on, I was like, I volunteered for this.
What was I thinking, right?
Exactly. I was like, I volunteered for this. Like, because I'm like, I've always been a highly spiritual, high vibrational individual.
Right.
And so some of the measures at which things are done, I don't agree with. But you take an oath, and I took an oath.
Right. Right. Yep. Yep.
I took an oath, and I always say to this day, I took an oath to protect you against all people, both foreign and domestic, all threats. And I
Mm-hmm.
still live I feel like I lived my life that way
Mm.
before raising my right hand. And I
Right.
definitely live it that
Right.
way after leaving. But, I'll always be a veteran. My dad was an Army veteran. I'm an Army veteran. I was an intel analyst. And
Mm-hmm.
so before, earlier on, I assisted, countries that had experienced war to rebuild commerce
Mm-hmm.
within their countries. And so I just feel like when I became an analyst for the
Mm-hmm.
Army,
Mm-hmm.
like what greater organization in numbers
Sure.
do you have?
Right.
Like that is the 1%. So
Mm-hmm.
I am the 1%.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it.
And I take it very seriously,
What?
you
Yeah.
know.
No. And I appreciate and applaud you for that. So you mentioned the helping internationally to regenerate economies like in war-torn generations. You often hear the word regeneration. That could mean a lot of different things, whether that's economic or educational. And I know that you have a multi-tiered approach, which I again applaud you for as an educator myself. So when you hear the word regeneration as it pertains to helping countries get back on their feet and get in a good spot, what words come to your mind when you hear the word regeneration?
I think about commerce, making people whole, restoration. If you can't eat and you can't keep a roof over your head,
Right,
then you can't learn.
right,
And
right.
so it's always been about commerce for me. My father was an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
His father was an entrepreneur. His father's father, and so our family, we have the builders of infrastructure, and then we have the entrepreneur, which I
Hmm.
guess in a way that's also one manually built the infrastructure of cities
Hmm.
throughout the United States, and the other is the entrepreneur. So it's like I said, I'm split with the best of both worlds because I have the
Hmm.
entrepreneur mind and I have
Right.
the grit of the builder, the developer.
I love it. I love it. Very good. So let's actually take that and kind of jump into that. I think I might have gotten things out of order there.
Okay.
You were a world-class athlete. Tell us about that. What was your sport? What drove you to that? And kind of tell me about some of the fun things that you got to experience on that stage.
Okay, so it's interesting because when you listen with your heart and you have friends that you go to college with and you see that they may be making a decision that isn't the smartest decision,
Right.
and so you decide that you're going to insert yourself into
Okay.
that
Gotcha.
decision.
Right.
So I had a friend that we graduated university and she had met someone in Greece. And
Okay.
she says, I'm going to move to Greece. And I was like, you're going to do what? She was
Excuse me.
like, I met a guy online.
Wow.
I'm going to move to Greece. And, my spidey sense,
Hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm going to go with you. And I
Yeah.
had the capacity to go.
Oh, okay.
And so we went to Greece. And
Hmm.
boy, were they surprised to see me.
Yeah. I knew you were coming, but what are you doing here, right?
Right. And so if you could imagine a young lady that's 6 foot tall, crystal blue eyes, long blonde hair,
Mhm.
traveling across the country to meet somebody that she met online.
Right.
Something didn't sit right with
Yeah.
me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I decided to go as well. And so
Hmm.
in my travels, I was able to uncover some rings of trafficking.
Oh my goodness.
I was able to assist her in not being trafficked.
My goodness.
And so at the end of that trip, it was it was a question like, what am I going to do with my life when I go back to the United States?
Hmm.
And it was as simple as that. It was that question. Oftentimes, people don't ask the right questions, which is why they don't get the things that they're seeking in life. So I asked myself a question: what am I going to do with my life?
Hmm.
And Muhammad Ali came on the screen. And before I had left the country, I had gone to a dinner party with Muhammad Ali, Angela Bassett, and Bill Cosby, and and a whole bunch of other
Hmm.
individuals. But the name, it rings true because
Sure.
Muhammad Ali was there and he came on the TV and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna become a boxer.
Why not, right?
I'm gonna become a boxer.
That's crazy.
And so when I left, I went back to California where it all started and I became a boxer. And
Wow.
I trained and I got management and I had my team and I began boxing and I was knocking people out. And then after knocking several people out, some women were getting hurt. One implant was busted. One in practice collapsed, and the sound that escaped her was like, I imagine it. I always say it was like the sound of light. If you can imagine the sound of light, that high pitched,
Hmm.
sharp sound
Okay.
escaped her as she was collapsing to the canvas.
Yikes.
And I went and I laid hands on her and I prayed over her.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? I think my time here is done.
Yeah.
I was
Wow.
already a belt holder. I won the belt in my seventh fight.
Wow.
And I felt like that's what I needed to do. The little girl inside of me,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's what I needed to do for her.
That's
I
crazy.
needed to fight.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's pretty inspirational. And to, I mean, seemingly, and you probably, skipped over some of the timeline and details and that kind of stuff, but a pretty meteoric rise, get to the top and be like, yep, did this pretty well, but this is not what I'm all about, and I need to go to something else because this, I don't know, sounds like it kind of accomplished what it needed to at the
Yeah,
time, and then it was off to the next thing. Is that pretty accurate?
that's exactly
Yeah.
that's exactly it. That's why I'm always like, okay, what's next?
Hmm.
What's next? What's next? I'm always in that space of what's next because
Mhm.
what I discovered as an athlete is, I'm winning. I'm always winning. I'm always going to be a winner. However, I believe that others do not have to lose in order for me to
Hmm.
win.
Right. Right.
I can win and others could win too. And that is the big learning lesson of life. What is for you, and nobody can take that away from you.
Right.
If I could stand in alignment with you and show you the
Mm.
greatness that is within you so you can become your greatest self,
Right.
for
Right.
me, that's so much more powerful
Hmm.
than standing over someone with my hand raised
Yeah.
because I'm a winner. It's who I am. I'm born to be a winner, right? That's how I move.
Hmm.
And so oftentimes I feel like when people, when they encounter heartache and heartbreak and things that could break your spirit if you allow it, you
Hmm.
got to be able to fight. You got to be
Right.
able to rise up and not be imprisoned by
Hmm.
things that harm you, but
Yeah.
rise like the phoenix
I
and
love
become
it.
greater than all things.
I love it. I love it. So Masako, I'm already feeling like we're gonna have to do another one of these because there's just the time is flying, and I have a list of questions that I gotta ask, but we can't do them all today. So let's pivot over to your company,
Okay.
mommy to be and me. Tell me about that. What
Yes.
what led you into that? What's your inspiration behind that? And then I've got some questions to kind of wrap up, but we've got to talk about that because I know that's a huge passion of yours.
Yeah, it is a huge passion of mine. So, mommy to be in me. What is mommy to be in me? It's a community that exists to be a supportive community for the single parent. And it came to me in a dream that it
Mhm.
is a web-based mobile platform that parents can have access to the things that are available to them within their
Mm.
communities at their fingertips.
Okay.
And why it's important, the way that we've modeled it is that what you need for your holistic wellness for parent and household, the affordability should not ever be in question
Mm.
on whether you and your children get services
Right.
and resources of things that make you whole And this could be things like swim lessons, violin lessons, mindfulness practices, mental health facilities. Life is more than going to work and coming home. Parents need balance, children need balance, and this is our way of keeping the children from being mislabeled within the school, because when the parent is overworked, underpaid,
Right.
overwhelmed, they are not well for themselves. And so the children go to school and they get mislabeled by the staff at the school. And then they go into this vicious cycle of unruly, doesn't pay attention, unable to complete work, when it could just be they're hungry, they're tired,
Right.
they don't have any balance. So it came about from a question: what solution can we bring to communities, and who are the people that are not being served? In our due diligence, the single parents are not being served. They're just looked over, like they became a parent, and then who they are and what mattered to them before becoming a parent goes out the door. So
Right.
how can we bring a solution to the community to make the community a better place? So we found it through partnerships within the community that says, you know what, we believe in the humanity of the parent. Let's
Okay.
do this together.
Right.
And so that's what Mommy to Be and Me, where the me is the inclusivity of the dad, of the adoptive parent, of the grandparent that is the parent again. So we partner with ISDs, we partner with providers, service providers. Our secret sauce is that the provider doesn't know who paid full price and who did it. And then the parent doesn't have to have shame because they were not able to afford something. And that way they heal on purpose because they're being great on purpose. We call, instead of charity, it's celebration of resilience.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So much good stuff. Right, fast enough to keep up with you here.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's definitely a passion project. I love it. It's a market that matters. The parent matters.
Absolutely it does.
The
Absolutely.
parent matters.
Yep. I love it. So we have your awesome logo over here, masakomai.com. Is that the best place for people to find information about you, to connect with you, get connected with Mommy to Be and Me? What's the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn at
Okay.
Masako Mai on LinkedIn. I feel like that's the best place. And if you're not on LinkedIn, Instagram or Facebook, but LinkedIn for business, I'm all about being transparent and listening to people on a heart level, because there's so many things that need to be uncovered, but parents feel like they've been forgotten about.
Yep, I agree. And let me just, this is not even a shameless plug, but just she didn't ask me to do this, but I feel compelled to share. I can speak from personal experience of Masako's just genuine heart. I mean, we had known each other for 5 minutes and she's already like, how can I serve you? What can I do for you? Like, it's not an act. She's just a lovely person that really does care for people and wants to improve the world just by being her awesome self. So definitely reach out and connect with her, because she will, if nothing else, make you smile and just make your day much brighter because of the energy that she gives off. So I cannot emphasize and encourage you strongly enough. Connect with Masako. She's the best.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that.
You bet. So let's wrap up on this one. And again, I think probably what we need to do is have a part 2 down the road here where we can dive into more of your organization and what it is that you're doing, how people can partner with you, just because there's not enough time in one episode to get through your backstory and what you got going on moving forward. So if you would do me the honor to maybe come back in the future, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. So let's finish up with our 3 key questions here. I did spring this one on you a little bit right before we recorded. I was like, so yeah, and then we're going to do these 3 questions. You're like, oh, wait, hold on. I'm not sure which one. So hopefully you had enough time to kind of percolate a little bit about this one. So Masako, who is a leader that you most admire and try to emulate? Maybe not most, but just name a few of them that come to your mind.
Okay, so I'm going to think about a leader that has been around through time, and I feel like I emulate her most because of the circles that I have been in. I feel like we are most in alignment with our thought process and how we move. and it's Maya Angelou.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. Growing up, I always went to the Alvin Ailey dances in New York, the performances, and I think
Mhm.
about, the more I began to see myself grow and how I speak, and when I meet different leaders and stakeholders
Mhm.
across the globe, the things that they share with me about myself,
Mhm.
how they're experiencing me, and
Right.
I was like, I believe Maya and myself are much alike.
I completely concur with that. I will, again, we don't know each other incredibly well, but I could definitely see the cultural impact and the heart and the so kudos. I think that's spot on. How about number two? Let's go to this one. What learning has most impacted you in the last year? You seem to be, to me, someone that is constantly learning, constantly, what's next, right? So what has been something that you have really applied yourself with and has made a big impact on you as far as learning in the last 12 months or so?
So within the last 12 months, being that I push having a career where you have a livable wage and you're
Hmm.
present for your household,
Hmm.
I'm constantly learning about cybersecurity,
Okay.
data literacy,
Okay.
and AI. And I believe the reason why I continue to learn within those spaces is because that's what I speak to these parents about. I have history in mathematics and data science and entrepreneurship. However, these three things right here is the wave of the future.
Right.
AI is the new electricity. And so the more I continue to learn of these three things, with data
Mm-hmm.
being number one for all of those things,
Right.
that keeps me open to have conversations with people across the
Mm-hmm.
globe so I can have an impact on the people's lives I serve. Yes, babe.
Hello. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
sorry. This is the royal. She can't see.
Okay.
Can you stand up, babe? So you want to say hi?
I would love to see her.
You want to stand up, baby? You can see it.
Hello there. How
That's the
are
royal.
you? Great to see you.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I'm constantly learning on the cycle of cybersecurity, data literacy, and AI.
I love it. Very good. I think that's very, very smart. I got one more question for mommy, and then you can have her. All right. So, how would you empower learning for future generations? Again, empowered learning is the name of the podcast, talking about, what can we do to set our kids and grandkids up for success in the future. You mentioned AI, obviously those things to your point. That is the future, whether you like it or not. I always liken it to like standing in the break of waves. You can either ride the waves or you can stand there and just get beat up by them trying to resist them. It's not going to work. You're not going to stop them, right? So let's figure out how to ride the waves. But what would you do? What I guess inspires you of how to empower learning for future
So
generations?
it's interesting. How would I empower learning for future generations? I'm doing this right now. So I have a group that I lead called 1 Million Cups for entrepreneurs. It's a community of entrepreneurs and business owners
Okay.
that we get together bi-weekly, where
When
we
and what was it called again?
1 million cups.
1 million. I didn't hear that right.
Yeah,
1
1
million.
million cups.
Got it. Okay.
1 million cups. And so I have youth entrepreneurs
Okay.
come and share their businesses, or if they would like to become an entrepreneur, we have entrepreneur workshops, an 11-week entrepreneur workshop where we
Mhm.
assist them in ideating, positioning, marketing. So when they walk away, they have a full business plan. And
Love
so
it.
it's not how would I, it's how I am currently doing this. So
Love it.
I am big in taking ownership in the positions that you find yourself in life, because
Mhm.
not everyone is intended to be an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
However, everyone is intended to take ownership of their
Mhm.
skill set.
Okay. Yeah.
And so to lead people in a way for them to take ownership in the unique gifts and talents that they're
Mhm.
blessed with, to bring those to market, to
Right.
bring solutions to the community, because
Mhm.
jobs change.
Right.
The solution that you bring to your community is
Right.
something that will always stay at the forefront of you. So, what unique gifts and talents do you have where you can create change and have impact with innovation within
Mhm.
your communities? So that's how I'm doing that. I'm currently doing that. I'm the Royal is 4. My daughter is 4 years old,
Okay.
and so it's important for me, for her,
Mhm.
to know what it is to be a leader.
Right. Right.
And
Yep.
so I'm the solution that I seek
I love it.
for other households.
Kudos for you. And I've interviewed a lot of people, and this is one of my favorite answers of all of those. It's not like what I'm going to do. I'm already doing it, like been there, not even done that, but like continuing to do the good work. So kudos to you for not having this as a distant, you mentioned like 5 bucket lists, right? You're on your fifth or sixth bucket list. So kudos to you
Yeah.
for whichever bucket list this one falls into, that you are actively working on that. So thank you for your passion and for your just drive to make the world a better place. We are better because of it.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
I believe it's each of our duties.
I concur. I concur. So we'll leave you on that note. Thank you so much for checking us out. Definitely check out Masako on LinkedIn, and we will talk to her again very soon. Thanks again. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Masako Mai doesn't just talk about impact, she embodies it. Her journey from soldier to healer, from boxer to builder, reminds us that purpose isn't something you find, it's something you create, especially when you carry the pain of others with you. If this episode moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear Masako's story. And while you're at it, hit subscribe, leave a review, and join us again as we keep exploring the people and ideas shaping a more empowered world. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, and never stop fighting for what matters.